Talkback. We would like to begin by acknowledging that the land we're broadcasting is the unceded territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and tsleil First Nations. Special thanks to our sponsors, our amazing sponsors. And with us here, we have Mossy, the filmmaker for the film Dancing Home. Thank you for joining us, Mossy. Uh, we also have Faye. Faye is here to help us facilitate because Mossy doesn't speak a lot of English, so Faye will be translating the Mandarin. So, Mossy, first of all, the first question is why did you decide to make this film?
毛细，就是您当时做这个电影的初衷是什么？
一开始它是一部公益影片，然后我们在拍的过程中开始理解这群原住民的舞者跟老师，让我觉得非常的触动我，然后我觉得很有生命力，跟一个华人世界长大的小孩所看见的世界是不一样的，因此我开始想要把它拍成长片。于是从2016年一路到现在，今年才开始做发行上映的动作，这样子。
Okay. So he originally started with this project as a charity public announcement project. And then during that process, you get to know this group of indigenous dancers and get to know their life stories and really moved by how alive, how full of life and their life stories. So they start understanding there's a whole part of the culture is different from what their upbringing or what they learned when they're growing up. So he started exploring and developing this one since 是2016年开始是吗？
是的。
So started to develop this film since 2016. Yeah, and developed it into a full feature. Yeah.
Nice. Congrats. So your film touches upon dancing. In terms of storytelling, why do you feel dancing is really important as a storytelling tool?
就是您这个电影是关于舞蹈的，为什么要用舞蹈这个平台来去介绍这个故事呢？就这个重要性，您觉得在哪？
有一个部分会想要做舞蹈的电影，有一部分是因为，在现代舞里面，他们跳舞是必须去观察自己内心的驱动力，然后他才会去显现在外面，变成是一个表演这样子。所以他们的驱动力，我当时候发现是他们想要去找一种最初的自己原民的文化。那这个文化是经过了很多汉人的不断的覆盖之后，他们想去挖掘这个自身的文化的过程。在当时候，在我那个年纪，大概30岁出头的时候，觉得这个的行径非常的吸引我，所以这是一个开始想要继续拍的一个原因，就是一种找自己的过程那样子。
So he used this dancing format because in modern dance, there's a lot of emotional introspection. And during the introspection, especially with this group of indigenous dancers, they really went into a journey of finding their indigenous roots, original culture, because during the Han migration, that's Han Chinese ethnicity. When they migrated, there's a lot of cultural influence covering or overlaying the original. So he's very curious all these people during this process of developing the dance, finding and seeking themselves. And that's where he thinks the story lives. Yeah.
That's great. Now, in terms of the execution, in terms of shooting a dance film and shooting a narrative film is completely different. What were some of the challenges you faced in terms of production, whether it was on set or maybe getting the funds, or if any challenges you want to speak about?
就是拍一个舞蹈的电影，关于舞蹈电影和拍故事片的形式还是挺不一样的。然后他就很想知道，就是比如说你在这个拍的时候有遇到什么样子的 挑战，就比如说资金上的挑战啊，或者任何拍的形式上，或者是技术上的挑战？
我觉得拍纪录片最难的，在这部片里面，我觉得是面对人这件事情。那这是我们的第一部的纪录片长片。那面对人有几个，一个是面对舞者，就是我们的整个舞群里面整个舞团里面有很多的人，那你要从这些舞群里面，你要哪些人是你的目标，然后你如何跟他们相处。以及在相处过程中发生了很多问题，他们可能会逃避，或者是离开这个舞团。那你怎么去在后来的剪接的过程中，如何去删减，或者如何去筛选这些素材？那再来就是舞蹈，在这个纪录片里面有一个很有名的编舞家，他叫布拉瑞扬，他是在台湾或者在美国是蛮知名的一个编舞家，所以当我们在面对这个老师的过程，以及面对舞者跟他相处的过程，这个是我们这个人际相处的分界是比较困难的地方，这样子，跟拍剧情片是不一样。剧情片是我们写好脚本，跟演员一起训练完之后，我们可以如实的操作，然后去把它完成。那纪录片充满了很多不确定性，这样子。
Okay, great. So basically, this is a documentary film, and dealing with documentary film is essentially we want to face their humanity, and there's a huge group of dancers, lots of stories that they develop and could develop. So he find challenges is in finding focus on where the narrative would go, how to shape the narratives, and also there's famous dancers or choreographers he worked with, and in dealing with narratives, you can give the script to the actors and have them act in the way that you want, and more things in your control, where in documentary format you're dealing with things in real time, it's all uncertain, and you're dealing with real personality using their life, so it's just challenges in navigating interpersonal stuff and the uncertainty elements. Yeah.
再补充一点，可以吗？
And one more point. Yeah. 可以。
这我们大概拍了8年的时间，然后这素材非常非常长，然后我们要经过这8年的时间去筛选这些素材，然后我们最后的剪接版本是跟剪接师大概已经剪到50-60个版本之后，才有这个 final 的版本，所以这一路的创作的路径是非常的长的，这样子。
So the other challenge is this is a movie that 8 years in the making, so they had so much footage and materials,
Yeah.
story points, right? So they probably went through 50 to 60 versions of edit
Wow.
to get to this one. Yeah. That's
So I
impressive.
guess sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just saying that's impressive. 很了不起，很了不起。
So yeah, of following up that, how did they make the decision for this final version? If you have so much content, what
Mhm.
was that? I mean, yeah, that's a lot of content to go through. What made them decide this particular version?
Okay. So Siddhartha was asking, how did you guys find this version or decide on this version is the final version? Like, how do you narrow it down? Oh,
I
oh,
think-
oh,
yeah.
好奇，
我大概知道了。
大概明白了是吧？他
OK
就
OK，
想知道你是怎么样，就是很长，这么长，这么多的 material，你怎么样去到最后就是
筛
聚焦到
选的，
最后这一版本的。
OK，我们是一个比较团队的创作方式。然后我一开始是前期的导演，然后之后有另外一个导演叫王正一一起参与，然后最后是由他来主导整个作品的方向。然后大概在前面20-30个版本的过程中，我们都会比较小的群组，有制片，有导演，然后有剪接，然后开始去商量这个版本，然后一路到要发行之前，大概已经到40几个版本，然后我们还会参考更多的意见，然后开放观众，我们熟悉的朋友，甚至是这一行的工作人员，或者是不是这一行的圈外人，然后一起来看这个影片。他们观后之后给我们一些感想，然后经由这些感想再去做调整。我们希望这部片不只是 从我们的观点出发，然后也可以接触到更多的大众，然后让我们想要传递的观点可以让大众接受的时候可以更完整一点。所以我们有这样的很漫长的一个简介的调整的过程，这样子。
So it's a long process. Basically, they had an ensemble of two major ensembles. One is for during the whole filming, collecting material process. That has Mossy is the director, and he has an ensemble team of producers, directors, editors. And then there's also second version of director where he starts shape shifting narrative. And so the two set of ensembles making this film, by the time they have 30th or 40th versions of the films, they start open to audience, both audience internally with friends and family, but also people outside of the industry to get audience feedback and reactions to see how it moves the audience, how they then want to shape the narratives. And so all the things, it's a very long and slow process of finding the voice, but it essentially what they aim is to their goal is to expand it into more audience and tailor for more mass audience. So they use all these process of evolution to find that how it can lend to resonate with more people. Yeah.
Nice, nice. So, is this Mossy? Is this your first feature film? Have you made maybe other projects before this film?
Mossy，这是您第一部作品吗？还是以前有其他的？
这是我们的第一部长片，对，然后对之前都有一些短片，然后以及一些比较节目类型的东西，或者是当摄影指导的案子。那这是我们第一次的记录长片这样子。
Okay. So this is his first feature full-length feature film. He had done short films and talk shows, and he has DP'd for other films as well. Yeah.
Oh, nice. And what was in terms of you talked a bit about the creative process. What was some of the like in terms of getting funding for this film? Was it privately funded? Did you have help? Also, was there other organizations that help you in this process, and other key creatives that help you? Maybe your creative partners, maybe your DP or anyone else within the indigenous community that help you make this project come to life.
In terms of funding.
In terms of funding or in actually the execution of the film as well.
就是我们想知道一下，就比如说在筹资这一块做这样子一个项目，这样子一个电影，筹资这块是有私人筹资呢，还是它有政府的或者是公益组织的？就是这些帮着讲这个故事，然后包括您有其他的，比如说像您的摄影指导啊，或者是就是跟这个土著人这一些机构有没有联合去，就是帮着您赞助这个电影的完成？
了解。那这个案子的主要出资方是台湾的文化部。然后整个制作过程是从2020开始拿到这笔钱，刚好是因为疫情的关系，我们公司所有的案子都停摆了，所以我们开始是向政府申请这个预算，然后我们大概拿到了12万美金左右的钱，然后开始制作这部片。然后一直到完成之后，我们缺乏一些上映的基金，然后我们也跟民间的单位的筹资了一些钱，然后一起跟台湾的原住民的一些单位也有给了一些补助，然后再来就是公司我们自己有出资一些钱那样子，才有办法上映跟发表这样子。
Okay. So basically, in 2020, there's fundings because there's a lot of industry shutdown, and they start getting fundings from the Culture Center of Taiwan. So they applied a government grant. They got around 120K US dollars to complete the film. And then they, after they finish the film, they go into distribution and marketing. That's when they run out of the money and they start using private sectors and their own money to help basically finish the distribution process. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Um, well, our time is almost up. I just want to thank you so much, Mossy, for creating this beautiful piece. I know you spent 8 years of your life creating this, and I know you were married to the project. So, congratulations again, and thank you for joining us at 3 a.m. I know it's 3 a.m. or your time. So,
Mm.
thank you so much.
谢谢您啊，毛西在凌晨3点钟，然后跟我们在这边一起聊，我们的时间基本上已经到了，然后我们很感谢您花了8年的时间，等于说是嫁给了这个电影，然后创作出来这么有能让观众感动的一个电影，非常感谢，
谢谢
谢谢，
，Thank
谢
you，
谢，谢谢，
谢谢，
拜拜，
拜拜，毛西，
拜拜。
拜拜
bye.
，Thank
Thank
you.
you, Faye. Thank you. Thank you so much, Faye.
Okay. Should I hop off now?
Hi everyone. To welcome to VAFF29 Virtual Filmmakers Talkback. We begin by acknowledging the land that we are broadcast here is the unceded territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh First Nations. I would like to thank all our sponsors to make this festival possible. Our next talkback, I would like to introduce Jack Jin, who's the director for the film One of Ours, a very, very important film, especially with what's going on today. Please welcome Jack.
Hello,
Hi, Jack. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Um, so, your film, very, very important, especially in these days. Um, First of all, my first question, I guess, is what is your connection? I know you have a lot of connection to Fred Lee and the racism the Chinese population face. Could you speak a bit about that?
My connection would, first of all, I'm not related to this soldier. He fought in World War One, but he comes from a part of China where my forefathers would have come from. So I felt a connection just by virtue of his DNA.
Mm,
And but he was a forgotten and lost and unknown soldier who was killed. And I thought it was a travesty that we did not know about him.
mm,
And I'm born and raised here, and going through school, we never heard about these stories. We never heard about stories of Chinese fighting for the country in World War One, South Asians, Vietnamese, even the Japanese,
mhm,
Canadians fought for this country. Of course, we only learned about the guys with English and Scottish names who were our heroes, and
mhm,
indeed they are our heroes. But who wrote the history? They
mm.
weren't guys like look like you or me. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. So sorry, go ahead. You were going to say something.
No, that was the answer to the question. My connection to Fred Lee. Uh, I responded. I was driven to find the story of the dead guy.
Mm-hmm.
Who could speak for this guy? He was killed. He was killed 100 years ago. Now
Mm-hmm.
108 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And if there was a story to uncover, it needed to be uncovered. And I felt like I was the first guy in 100 years to actually go to his hometown to see if there's anything left of his story, and we found it.
No, that's great. And so let's
Yeah,
talk about that. Like, how did you uncover his story? I mean, this was 100 year. He was 100 years. He
yeah.
passed 100 years ago. So, what was your first steps? I mean, who did you talk to when you went to his town? What was some of the receptions? Uh, did
Yeah.
people know? Like, yeah, let's talk about that.
Well, the only history that we had was military history, and that's where all the historians went. More likely you'd go to France at his battle site to find some history, but no, I'm going to his purported hometown, and I was told by others that he might have lied. He might have lied, and I said, well, that's not very nice.
Yeah.
you know you know so well, a lot of people lie to have the privilege of joining the army, and they had a clue because they found his papers that should he cease to exist, he wrote down, send my belongings to my mother by way of our lawyer Fred
Yeah.
Fulton, and send it to China. Well, they had evidence that mom was in China, so then reasonable deduction, he was born in China, but he
Okay.
says he was born in Kamloops. He wrote down he's born in Canada, and I preferred to believe that he was an honest guy, because
Yeah.
why would you lie on a military paper?
Yeah. Especially in
You know,
those times, right?
you get thrown in jail right away, right away.
Yeah.
So I was first guy in 100 years to get on my horse. That was a Ford F-150 at the time, and yeah, I found some people. And the first person I talked to was a former counselor of Kamloops, and he happens to be a Chinese Canadian guy named Joe
Yeah.
Joe Leong, and he was the keeper of this Chinese cemetery. And I go, wait, hang on. There's a Chinese cemetery, a cemetery just for Chinese. So that was the first uh, revelation. And you see the Chinese were not allowed to be buried in the civic cemeteries. Okay, well that's an affront right there. So we went and looked at that, and then this whole thing of the world that the soldier named Fred lived in, or lived under, this blanket of denial. He was denied, not denial. He was denied a life, really.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we found out his story at the archives. I love small museums.
Yeah, yeah,
Small museums always have people back there who love their town and have been taking care of things for a long time, and they have card stacks. This old style card stacks, right? It wasn't digital. It was card stacks, and I was finding these articles referencing newspaper references to this family. We found out that Fred Lee, the soldier, had a established family in the 1800s.
Oh wow.
And yeah, so next thing you know, I'm trying to discover something a long time ago, like 100 years ago, and now I'm taking back a further 50 years.
Yeah.
Now I'm in 1860 looking for his dad,
Yeah.
Chong Lee. So we ended up uncovering this huge, wonderful story of a family, and a tragic one and a sad one. And I can't tell you the whole film, but it's been an amazing journey. I didn't expect to be on it for 8 years. Okay, I just wanted to find the backstory, and then we could go on and build the memorial. I learned about it through a desire by a group from Kingston who wanted to build the last memorial of World War One at this battle where Fred Lee was killed.
Mm.
Okay, that's a noble purpose. You want to build a memorial because 1,877 soldiers were killed there, all Canadian. One of them was a Chinese Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay, hang on. I like your story, the bigger story, but my bigger story is this Chinese Canadian because he could very well be the first Asian Canadian
Mm-hmm.
to volunteer and die for this country.
Even to
And-
the country, yeah.
And if we had this guy, then it opens the opportunity to tell other stories of people of color in the Great War, because my goodness, Canada didn't tell those stories, and the British Empire did not tell those stories.
Yes.
It gets bigger. So this whole mushroom cloud of biggerness happened because I found out there's 100,000 Vietnamese soldiers fought for France. 1 point something million Muslims, Hindus, and Sikhs from India fought for the empire.
Mm.
It just and 4,000 indigenous.
Mm.
And we just learned more and more and more. And so I became a bit of a geek nerd historian for World War One.
Sounds like it was like a private detective. Also, you were just uncovering all this stuff.
Oh, way too much. I got file cabinets worth of paper now, and digital files too. And yeah.
So, in terms of the documentary, obviously, without spoiling it and stuff, 8 years is a long time. I'm sure you got a lot of footage.
Yeah.
A lot of footage.
Yeah.
What was your process like in terms of dialing it down to what you have now as the final version?
Yeah, we pared it down first. First film was 27 minutes. We pared it down so we could just get to a finish because we had a nice ending.
Yeah.
You know, you have to finish it and says, okay, it's good, knowing that we have enough stuff to do a sequel.
Yeah.
Okay, but I needed a little more research. Well, let's end it here and let's get this one out and see if the world likes it.
Yeah.
And my world loves it.
Yeah.
But then I had another group a group called Wakefield says, hey, we're in parallel paths. We're building a deeper story of not just my journey trying to find this dead soldier, but the people who helped me along the way. And as we people learn about our search, and it wasn't nothing selfish about it. We just wanted to uncover this untold story, and people got onto the hunt,
Mm-hmm.
and they would help. And so it took me across Canada, took me to France, took me to Belgium, took me to England,
Mm-hmm.
and but in the 40-minute version, we have a nice ending as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, so you know, a filmmaker has to find a good ending,
Yeah.
right? But a documentarian like the kind that we have, we answer some questions, but we intentionally have you thinking about other questions because you're gasping for more information. Because, hey, what about those sisters?
Mhm.
And what about the guys he met? And so you want to learn more, and we frankly could not have it. I have it. I wish I had unlimited time and resources to go do those sequels. We're working on them, uh,
Mhm.
and it keeps me going because it's so fascinating. And we make friends. We make friends along the way. I was just in Toronto yesterday, and we brought back our soldier. Uh,
Oh, nice.
so we built a hockey cart for him because we found out that his brothers played organized hockey.
Oh,
Good
of
grief.
course.
1907, 1908, 1912. We got these guys playing hockey. So we built him a hockey cart because this is the hockey cart he was denied because he fought for his country and he sacrificed his life. He didn't get to skate. He didn't get to skate.
Yeah.
But we brought him back as a ghost.
Mm.
Yeah, that made the news yesterday in Toronto.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I'm
the
making friends. Yeah.
well, the documentary has gotten some traction. I mean, it went all over Canada, right? National
Yeah.
across all so it was well received by the whole of Canada, as you mentioned.
No, not really. It's still undiscovered because we only did private screenings
Oh, I see. I see. I
where
see.
we're invited. Yeah. Okay. And so the people are still happily surprised to
Yeah.
see this film. I'm screening today in Victoria, by the way. And
Congratulations.
yeah. So because and I'm really thankful we're screening across Canada with VAFF. How cool
Yes.
is that?
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah.
We got 5 minutes left, Jack.
Yeah.
Is there any final thoughts or final things you want to say about your film? Because I mean, although your film touches on Fred Lee, who passed 100 years ago, we are not right now seeing similar sort of the rise of racism and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I think your film is very relevant. So, is there any final thoughts and then final say you want to say to the audience before we?
Yeah. Well, this Fred's journey. I've an acronym BIAS, bias,
Hmm.
up on my screen because Fred suffered from, and he needed that sense of belonging,
Mm-hmm.
inclusion, acceptance,
Mm-hmm.
and he sacrificed belonging, inclusion, acceptance, and he gave his life. So there was a sacrifice there. So that, that's a drive for me in that his story can help all of us to explore their own identity in the context of who was here before you.
Mm.
Okay. So, and most Chinese Canadians think of themselves as not visitors here, but newcomers here, as newcomers, no matter, and yet most Europeans are also newcomers, but they don't have to see themselves as
Mm-hmm.
newcomers, as immigrants. And so this film is important because we have at least one Chinese Canadian who was born in Canada who gave up his life in the
Yeah.
Great War. In the
Yeah.
Great War, that's a long time ago. This is before Canada was officially Canada. All right. So let's it's Remembrance Day tomorrow. Let's celebrate. Let's remember our soldiers and know that there were all types of Canadians. It was a diverse army that became the most feared army of the empire. Canada won the war for the empire. It was a powerhouse, and
Mm.
an army of 100,000 soldiers and 37 victories in a row, right through the finish line.
Well, I didn't
Okay,
know that. I didn't know that.
yeah, 37 victories in a row. General Currie, they were called the shock troops of the empire, and they were given the mandate to lead. Okay,
Mm.
so and it cost a lot of lives. Every time there was a big battle, there was 2, 3, or 4,000 killed. All right.
Mhm.
So, but we were smart in terms of losses. 45,000. Yeah, 45,000 killed is still a huge number for us. But you know what? Relatively small compared to other countries who had a lot of deaths. Canada fought intelligently, and they didn't play off a old British playbook. Okay, and how to fight a war. General Currie, we were innovators in the in that battle.
Mhm. Well,
Yeah.
Jack, that's the time we have. I would like to
Yeah.
thank you for your tenacity in creating this doc. I know it has been a lot of work, 8 years, all those research. I'm really glad it's getting the traction that it's getting because it's a very important story.
Yeah.
And please keep going. And thank you.
Yeah, thank you, VAF, for screening it, and thank you all you who volunteer, because this country is built by volunteers.
Hmm.
Okay, culture in its culture and its defense, volunteers. So thank you.
Thank you, Jack.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
Take care. Have a nice day.
Bye.
Hello and welcome to VAFF29 Virtual Filmmakers Talkback. I would like to thank all the sponsors for making VAFF possible. With us today, right now, is Oliver Chan for the film My Moth and I. Moth and I. Please welcome Oliver.
Hi,
Hey, how are you?
good. Nice to meet you.
Nice to
you,
meet you.
Samantha.
So your film. Let's talk. It's horror. It's it has a social commentary about what's going on. Okay, let's start with why did you decide to tell the story that you decided, especially with the genre that you chose?
Yeah, I guess with this film, it was really a reflection of, I think, the internal psychology that was going on in the last few years. As someone who, always envisioned their future in Hong Kong, and
Mhm.
seeing that narrative change as time goes by, what that means, and with that comes with just a lot of fears. Personally, with a lot of different types of fears, just like yeah, and then how do I project this into a form that I feel people can resonate with, and it
Mhm.
felt pretty natural to choose somewhat of a psychological horror-esque with obviously very minimal like traditional horror elements, but using that as a hint to suggest what the internal psyche might be. So yeah,
I thought you did that brilliantly because the movie
thank
creeped
you.
me out. The movie creeped me out, and in a good way because that was your intention, right? To capture that anxiety of what. So, in terms of the cinematography, because that played a huge part. Uh, what was that process like working with your DP? How did you guys capture that? How yeah, please talk to us about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so me and this DP, we worked on mostly a lot of commercials together,
Yeah.
but doing narratives has been our goal throughout, and so we have a good understanding of each other, what we want, and it started on the storyboard level, and so drew everything out frame by frame, and then
Oh wow.
he he basically got a really, because this time we got more support, basically, both financially too, with the fund and stuff. So
Mhm.
we were managed, like, basically really wanted to work with a great gaffer to really shape everything more closer to what we envisioned. And so the gaffer actually did a lot with this film particularly, and yeah, it was like definitely like an evolution of collaboration with the DP, who's French actually. He just lived in Hong Kong for 10 years, but
Mhm.
so he brings I would say always like a different flair to maybe cinematographers that I usually work with here also. So it's like a really cool combination. And then so I think both of us, since we have been outside for a while too, like to we do feel like we get to see a little bit different from just someone born and bred here. So we're trying to, like, max it out in a way to really craft every scene as much as like pretty as we can, basically,
Oh
even
yeah.
out of like the mundanes.
It looked gorgeous. The yeah. And in terms of casting, did you have auditions? Did you cast people you already knew? Because I thought the acting was superb as well. And what was that process
Thank
like
you.
in terms of directing your actors? Yeah. Let's talk through that.
So with the main actor was definitely someone I was very cautious about. So we casted for 3 months, and just a lot of. But in Hong Kong, with the pool of actors, basically you have like a limited pool where, like, either you're really famous or you're like, there the in between is less, I would say, compared to a lot of different cities. So we got lucky with a theater actor, and so he really just like honed the character completely, and so got lucky with him. And then the other ones are all more known actors actually, and that's thanks to my producer, who's quite like a veteran director here in Hong Kong. So he managed to find these more experienced actors to come play a bit part role, since it's really just a few hours, and they kind of owe him a favor usually, and they'll say, okay, yes, we'll do it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Call in the favors.
Yeah, lucky.
Did you rehearse a lot before each shooting, each scene? Did you had time to rehearse, or was it on the day you just let's go?
Definitely as much as possible, I think, because even though we had support for this scale of this short film, it really felt like we didn't have too much shooting time on set. So to get everything that we want, like I tried to squeeze any rehearsals possible, even though in Hong Kong it's really not traditional. It's not common actually to do rehearsals. Usually Hong Kong, like, industry is pretty much quite like, on the go. And so, for example, on it during fittings, during anything that I can like bring the actors together as an excuse, like I would try just like run a lot, and then work it with them internally to find the voice of their characters in each moment. So yeah, basically as much rehearsals as we can do.
Nice. So you're obviously in Hong Kong right now, and in Canada, in Vancouver, there's a big population of people who migrated from Hong Kong.
Mm.
And with everything that has happened, um, I'm personally curious, like what is the what is the situation right now? Like, for example, you are living there. I mean, don't if I don't want to get you in trouble or anything. Obviously, you decide what you want to say or don't want to say. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's pretty straightforward. I think for me, there's clearly a really just reason why a lot of people might choose to leave for all sorts of reasons. And I actually am in a position where I actually just moved back from New York 2 years ago. So I like feel like being outside for so long, I feel like I still hold a lot of hope for my city personally. I still, even though went through like fears and stuff, and that's what I would say what my film I was aiming to go for. Basically, there's this in the end there was this acceptance of like, whatever
Don't
the
spoil
future
it.
might hold. Yeah, no spoilers. Yeah,
Yeah.
but in terms of like how to face it was like a really big kind of dialogue with myself, and what I hope to converse is definitely this feeling that like can face every day with more courage. And so I personally stand on the side of like, as long as there's like a crack of hope, like we have to especially be on the cultural side. Like this is one of like the things people look out for during times like these.
Yeah.
So I think there's a responsibility in trying your best to say what you can.
No, that's great. Just a final thought. Just a final before we finish. I feel like your film, it's like you're really showcasing what a filmmaker can do, because you're using genre, you're using very high levels filmmaking skills to talk about a social issue that's happening, which I think is brilliant. So can you just talk a bit about the responsibility of being a filmmaker?
Thanks so much. I think I think we're lucky to work in this era, in this realm where people spend a lot of time in the medium that we hold, this form that we hold. And I think, and yeah, especially times like, when you look back in film history, the most moments that you can recall all are a sort of dialogue with the audience at that place and time. And it would be often weird if you don't see a movement during a time of change. You don't see a film movement that responds to it. And I think now, coming back, it is talking to people, having having screenings, having dialogues, and just like everyday life, just to have that dialogue of like, okay, what are we, we have a responsibility of shaping what narratives people hold in their head. And if what you do, you have a lot of power. And I think I think no matter how small or how big you are, there's a responsibility in that. Like, and obviously some people, you don't have to say happy things all the time, but but you want to make people feel seen.
Okay. Well, Oliver, thank you for creating Moth and I. It was
Thank you so much.
creeped me out. It was really well done. Thank you again for joining us at the Vancouver
Appreciate it.
Asian Film Festival. And yeah, see you soon.
See you.
Take
Bye.
care.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to VAFF29, Virtual Filmmakers Talkback. My name is Siddhartha, and I'm the Director of Feature Programming. Today, we'll be talking about the animation Surface, directed by Catherine Wong. With us, we have Sophia, the editor, and Dante, the EP executive producer. Hi, Sophia. Hi, Dante. Can you,
Hello.
can you folks hear me well?
Yes.
Nice, nice. Welcome, welcome.
Thank
So,
you so much.
yeah, no, thank you for being here. So, Surface animation. I love animations. I know it's not easy to make, so let's start with the process of making this animation. So, since Catherine's not here, was it how Dante? How did you get involved with the project first?
Absolutely. Yeah. So this film is actually like the first brainchild of our program at our studio that allows anyone at the company to share an idea and get a studio-wide vote to get their idea made and greenlit. And so Catherine was the first winner. She got like a third of the company to vote for idea. She pitched it to everyone in the studio, and we started making it. So then from there, we started to compile art directors, animation directors, and all the key creatives to then plus up the vision, because it starts out as, of course, an amazing pitch, but then it needs to go through some steps in pre-production.
Yes.
And after a few months, we get our animatic and look targets, and then we go down the whole schedule. I can break it more specific, or is that kind
Yeah,
of
yeah, no,
break
that's
down?
great. That's great. I guess just my follow-up question is, I just want to make sure the viewers know, is Atomic Cartoons correct?
Yeah, Atomic Cartoons is the production company.
Fantastic, fantastic. Okay, now Sophia, in terms of the editing process, now obviously when people talk about editing in the narrative short, people know you cut and stuff. Maybe most people don't know how is it exactly to edit an animation. Could you please talk a bit about that?
Sure. Yeah, that's a great question. I think it is easiest to describe as editing in reverse.
Yes.
In live action, you have all this footage and you're kind of chipping away at it, just taking away to get to the edit. And animation is the opposite. I think you're building from the start. So Catherine had a lot of wonderful visual inspiration for the film, a lot of references that were very clear from the jump, and then worked with the team to board. So we have storyboards, which are illustrations of every move that the character will make in 2D space, like a flip book is how I usually explain that. And as an editor, your job is to time it out and to put dialogue in. Our film doesn't have dialogue, so it was a lot more concentrated on the pacing and the music and the sound effects. So timing those out with the team so that they feel correct, and using your imagination to see if that timing and pacing feels right for down the line once you get into animation and comp. So it's a really fun challenge. It sometimes is like a mystery box, but it was wonderful to work with Catherine. She had a really clear vision from the start. So it's just like, is this feeling good? And just kind of going back and forth until that feels ready for the next stage of the animation process.
Oh, wow. Thanks for that. So Dante, could you speak more about the challenges of making an animated project? Because a lot of people come from narrative or docs. People might not understand what exactly are the challenges when it comes to animating a project.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think one of the biggest misconceptions is how much time it takes to get something done. So as Sophia mentioned, you're kind of editing in reverse because it costs so much time and resources to even do 1 minute of animation. You need to have your plan kind of set. You need to have your emotional reaction from your artist set in that storyboard and edit stage. Because when you get to pencils down, in which this film was, over 50% hand drawn, which even is another step of, you may not know all the technical sides of it, but you have 3D and you have 2D, and there's even rigging inside both of those. But drawing frame by frame, I think everyone's very familiar with the traditional style. We were doing that on this film as well. So there's no time to make big edits. And so we made a very lean film, but it was targeted, and actually to the theme of the story is about holding your breath for a minute. Most people can feel that amount of anxiety in a minute. So the time, I think, is the challenge in terms of resource and budgeting, the time is a challenge in terms of narrative and scope, and time is a challenge in terms of like the narrative punchiness of like, the result the audience is supposed to feel.
No, that's great. That's great. And I guess this question goes for both of you. Maybe we can start with Sophia. So there's many different kinds of animation. Like Dante spoke briefly, like 3D, 2D, stop motion, and now with AI also going on, artificial intelligence. So, what are your thoughts in terms of animation going forward? Because for me personally, I love the 2D, like what you had for Surface. That's my favorite kind because maybe I grew up with that. I grew up watching these 2D animations, and I feel that for me resonates the most. But what are both your thoughts in terms of where the animation industry is going?
Oh gosh, that's a big one. I wish I had a crystal ball. I don't feel ready to make any grand statements as to where I think it's going, but I'm with you. I feel like there's always going to be a nostalgia for 2D. We all grew up watching 2D shows, and like I don't know what my personality is if I didn't watch 5 years of Kim Possible and the Powerpuff Girls. Like it's just a different person. And I think there's a lot of really cool stuff being done in the 3D space too, and we're kind of seeing how popular that is with audiences. You really can't debate like K-pop Demon Hunters and Inside Out 2. Those are just huge successes financially and spiritually, and I think the love for animation is really there. Definitely a lot is changing in the industry with the introduction of AI and different workflows, but I think as filmmakers, we're malleable. This has been since Netflix in the early aughts. Things have always been changing. It's like you just learn to work on this shifting surface. I didn't want to name drop the film, but there it is. And you just kind of keep making art because that is what we're all passionate about. So different tools and things changing, but I think the desire for authentic stories will always be there, and audiences will always like that. Catherine's film was so like there was a resounding interest for her story at the studio, and I think that curiosity just remains. It's like original ideas, different approaches, and passion for that, and we just keep moving forward and see how that shakes out. What do you think, Dante?
Yeah, is the question, sorry, how is AI going to like affect the industry?
No, just maybe you're not even that. Also, like your personal opinion on where the animation industry will, because I mean you're the executive producer, right?
Yeah,
You have to be kind of a pioneer. Also, you got to predict all the stuff and stuff like that. So, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I truly feel that it is just a tool, and some tools I think right now it's a bit of a broad statement, and I think if we were to introduce 3D software now, we might even call it AI. To be completely honest, I feel like it's lost that much weight, and so in the typical sense of like derivative or whatever, we're not doing any of that. I don't think that copying people's work and regurgitating it into new content is the future. I think that specific needs and gaps and it may open the floor for some solves, but I don't imagine the key creative roles or even the like for a hand-drawn film, like the drawing, if that just gets lost, I mean, the whole thing kind of falls apart. The whole point is that someone in there made specific line choices.
Yes.
And it's not just for the love of the pain of drawing, 7,000 drawings. It's a labor of love. And so this film, in that sense too, the goal was to highlight some hand-drawn film because even though we're not using AI, but like even rigging in general, just trying to like not rely on the computer for so much and really make decisions. So I'll lean into Sophia as well. I think there's actually a desire for more meaningful artist-driven content, even though we live in a very fast-paced digital posting where I don't see AI filling that gap, to be honest. I think that gap will actually get further apart and we'll start to latch on to true, resonating stories.
No, I'm glad to hear that because I really resonate with that because like when I saw Surface, I was just appreciative of the work behind it, the 2D animation, and sometimes people might look at it, oh, it's only 2 minutes, but then it's a long process to make that even 2 minutes.
Absolutely.
More on a personal note for both of you, what were the first animation you saw as a child, which was like it stuck with you, like you love it, you will watch it 10 times? Like for me, it was Aladdin. For I love Aladdin, and also Lion King.
My go-to, I would say the first film that I ever watched in theater was Snow White, and it was with my aunt in the early 90s. And I had to do a deep dive because that's not when Snow White came out. So I was like, is my memory flawed? Is that not the first film that I saw? And it just turns out there was a rescreening of that film in the city I grew up in. And so we went, and yeah, that's always been a favorite to me just because it was kind of my first theater experience. I thought it was witchcraft. And then I think as an adult, my go-to that I can always watch is Bob's Burgers. It just makes me happy. And I just feel like Tina as a character is something that I would have loved to have growing up. And as an adult, I still relate very much to the female gaze of that character and the point of view of that show. So like if it's on TV or if I'm just like, I wanna watch something really fun, I'll like put on Bob's, and it's still going strong. It's always has a special place in my heart. What about you, Dante?
Yeah, I'm still in the same kind of boat with Aladdin and stuff like that. The Disney Renaissance, like my VHS collection, like many other kids, was unmatched. We had all those ones. And so you could see chew marks as I'd sit there and chew on the VHS box and watch all of them. So that one, and then the introduction of Toy Story. When that was the big one. So Toy Story actually was probably my most watched kids movie. But Hercules was actually my favorite at the time. I go back to Hercules every time. I think that one's a bit of a, some people love it. Some people feel like it was the Emoji Movie of the 90s, which is fair. But I love that movie. I think it's got the music, it's got the design, I love the story. It's my comfort movie in terms of animation.
Yeah. Well, we got a few minutes left. Do you have any final thoughts or anything you want to say about your film Surface to the audience at the Vancouver Asian Film Festival?
Sophia, do you have something to go off of?
No, I wish Catherine was here to speak to this. We're just really lucky to be included in this festival. Happy to be here, and we know that we're screening virtually, but always happy to connect with audiences in any way. And Catherine is online on social media, and so are we. So always here for questions as people watch in the next 24 hours. Dante?
Yeah, happy to jump in too. Yeah, I know. I'm so thankful for something like Vancouver Asian Film Festival, because like the program was supposed to uplift like quieter voices that maybe you don't get a chance to make a film. Boom, we have this opportunity for the program to elevate it, and then this festival to uplift it even more. Now we've got eyes on this film. It was a passion piece from Catherine, who got the approval of the entire company to rally behind her. Now a festival, it just goes to show it just starts like with an idea and getting everyone on board with the vision, and who knows where it goes. So I'm so thankful to see, from my perspective, that runway and watch Catherine take it all the way to the finish. Again, I'm so sorry she couldn't be here. And I can't wait for the screening in person and watch our world debut of our film. It's so exciting. It feels very cathartic to be here.
And I guess a final note: if let's say someone watching this has an idea and wants to pitch, how do they go about that process?
Are you talking about Atomic cartoons?
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
Yeah. So unfortunately, the program is specific to internal, so you'd have to get a job in. But then our development team in LA takes in series and features, and then my program takes in short films.
I see.
So you'd have to be an employee first, but any position, doesn't matter what you're doing, you can pitch. That following year. So unfortunately, it's not open to the public though.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Dante and Sophia, for joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our pleasure. Thank you for having us.
All right, folks. So that's the end of the VAFF29 Virtual Filmmakers Talkback today. Please visit VAFF.org to watch our virtual program. One day for 24 hours. Everything will be geo-blocked in Canada. We still have a one-day, full-day in-person screening and industry events on November 15, 2025 at Scotiabank Theatre, Vancouver. If you would like to vote for People's Choice Award, please, you can do so at vaff.org/vote throughout the festival. That's it from me. Have a nice day and keep watching films. Take care.